This is ABC of News bringing you the latest in world politics. India's economic ambition, 8% growth target. India's trillion-dollar dream. Imagine India in 2047, exactly 100 years after independence, a country where every family owns a car, where villages have world-class infrastructure, where young Indians don't have to migrate abroad for opportunities. This isn't just a dream. It's the official government target called Viksit Bharat 2047. And it requires something extraordinary. India must grow at 8% every single year for the next 22 years. These are numbers that will change your life. India's current GDP growth is 6.5% as of 2025. India requires a growth of 8% per year to be sustained for the next 22 years. India's goal is to transform itself from a developing nation to a developed nation by 2047. If everything goes well, then the impact would be that India would become the second largest economy. But here's the reality check. India will need to grow by an average of 7.8% over the next 22 years to achieve its aspiration of reaching high income status by 2047. A target that the World Bank says is possible but challenging. But what does this mean to you? This means more job opportunities in every sector, higher salaries and living standards, world-class infrastructure in your city, and finally, India will be competing with countries like China and USA globally. The reality is, where does India stand today? India's current economic performance. Full year GDP growth in India decreased to 6.5% in 2025 from 9.2% in 2024. While this might seem concerning, let's understand what these numbers really mean. Let's see India's recent growth story. In 2024, GDP rose to 8.2%, which was above the 7.9% forecast by economists. For 2025, the projection is that RBI expects real GDP to grow by 6.5% in FY 2025-26. As per 25-26 forecast, growth is projected to be between 6.3% and 6.8%. There is a gap that we need to bridge. The current versus the required. Currently, India's average growth is 6.5%. But currently, India needs a sustained growth of 8%. There is a clear gap of 1.5% which might look small, but it's massive in economic terms. What does this 1.5% extra growth mean for India? It means millions of more jobs are to be created annually, trillions more in economic output, faster poverty reduction, and accelerated infrastructure development. The global comparison reality. Let's see how India compares. China's historical peak was 10% plus and it was for decades. South Korea, during the development phase, it was 8 to 9% and it lasted for 30 years. Vietnam's current rate is at 6 to 7%. India's current rate is at 6.5%. The 8% target isn't impossible because other countries have achieved it, but it requires dramatic changes. Who will be the winners? Who will benefit from this 8% growth? It is the young Indians who will be the biggest winners. Because there will be job creation explosion, creating 100 million plus jobs in tech, manufacturing and services will transform opportunities for Indian youth. The current employment challenge can be overcome. The unemployment rate among educated youths grew to 30.8% in 2019 from 23.9% in 2000, but fell to 18.4% in 2022. With 8% growth, this could drop to single digits. There will be salary growth for you. In IT sectors, 12 to 15% annual salary increases. In manufacturing, new high-paying factory jobs will be available. In services, there will be expanding opportunities in finance, healthcare and education. In entrepreneurship, there will be easier access to funding and markets. Now let's talk about the emerging sectors and the cities. There will be technology transformation. India will potentially need to make a critical shift, transitioning from a net importer to a globally competitive, export-driven economy. There will be manufacturing revolution in electronics from assembly to design and manufacturing, In case of automobiles, India will be the electric vehicle hub for the world. In case of textiles, India will have high value fashion and technical textiles. In case of chemicals, India will have specialty chemicals and pharmaceuticals. Indian women will have economic participation. Promoting women entrepreneurship and rural employment schemes will unlock India's demographic dividend. There will be rural India transformation. There will be infrastructure development, in which there will be high-speed internet in every village, all-weather roads connecting remote areas, modern healthcare facilities accessible to all, and there will be quality education infrastructure. There will be agricultural modernization, in which there will be technology-enabled farming, direct market access for farmers, value-added agricultural processing, and higher farmer incomes. There are bound to be challenges. Why this 8% won't be easy? There will be investment challenge. The critical requirement is that to achieve this growth, the investment rate must rise according to the Economic Survey 2024-25. Currently, there are investment issues. There are current investment issues like private investment remains sluggish, manufacturing sector needs massive capital injection, infrastructure requires 200 plus lakh crore rupees investment, research and development spending is too low. Then there is quality employment crisis. There is mismatch of skills like engineering graduates driving Uber instead of building rockets, MBA graduates struggling to find management roles, traditional industries declining faster than new ones emerging, and quality of work remains a concern, especially for qualified young workers. Then there is regional inequality where the southern states are growing faster than the northern states, urban areas are prospering while the rural areas are lagging, coastal regions are benefiting more than the inland areas, and rich states are getting richer while the poor states are lagging behind. The next challenge is global economic headwinds having external challenges like trade wars affecting export growth, global economic slowdown impacting demand, rising protectionism worldwide, and supply chain disruptions. There are internal structural issues of challenges like slower growth, high taxes, and declining foreign investments risk hindering progress, bureaucratic delays in project implementation, land acquisition difficulties, and environmental clearance bottlenecks. There is demographic pressure for youth employment crisis for 12 million young Indians who enter job market annually. Current economy creates only 6 to 8 million jobs. Enhancing gig economy and remote work opportunities needed urgently. Skill training programs not matching industry requirements. Next, let's move to the sector by sector breakdown and see what needs to take place. In case of manufacturing, the Make in India 2.0, let's see the current status. In case of manufacturing, it is 13% of GDP, which needs to reach 25%. Electronic imports is at $65 billion annually. Auto sector is growing but needs to scale up. For 8% growth requirements, electronics manufacturing has to reach 300 billion by 2030. Automobile production needs to be scaled up to 50 million vehicles annually. India needs to scale up textile exports to 100 billion by 2030. In case of pharmaceutical manufacturing, India needs to become the global supply chain hub. India has to think of services beyond IT. The IT services evolution from cost arbitrage to innovation hub, AI and machine learning capabilities, fintech and digital payment leadership, and global capacity centers. India needs to think of new service sectors like health and medical tourism, education and skill development, entertainment and gaming, and financial services and insurance. Agriculture is the foundation of India. Agricultural modernization requirements are precision agriculture technology adoption, food processing industry expansion, direct farmer to consumer markets, and sustainable farming practices. Expected agricultural outcomes are farmer income doubling by 2027, food security for 1.4 billion people, agricultural exports reaching $100 billion, and rural employment diversification. The government has made a master plan by the name of Viksit Bharat 2047. The strategy of the Viksit Bharat 2047 is that India must sustain an average growth of 8% over the next 2 decades to realize its ambition of becoming a developed nation by 2047. Infrastructure investment is one of the key pillars of the Viksit Bharat 2047 strategy, under which the government will spend 130 lakh crore for the national infrastructure pipeline. There will be high-speed rail network expansion, smart cities will be developed, and development of digital infrastructure backbone. The next policy is the ease of doing business, which includes single window clearances for businesses, digital governance initiatives, simplified tax structure, and reduced regulatory compliance burden. Budget allocations of 2024 and 25, and the priority sectors are: the government plans to prioritize research and development, R&D, micro, small and medium enterprises, which is the MSMEs, and the capital goods sector. Education and skill development programs, healthcare infrastructure expansion, and rural development initiatives. What does this mean for your future? Now we will see the personal impact by age group. If you are between 20 and 25 years old, then career opportunities will multiply by 2030. Starting salaries could double in real terms. Entrepreneurship ecosystem will mature, and there will be global career opportunities from India. If you are between 25 and 30 years old, then mid-career growth will have acceleration, real estate investments will appreciate, children will have world-class education options, and retirement planning becomes more optimistic. If you are 35 years old and above, then there will be opportunities in industry leadership, investment portfolios will benefit, quality of life will improve, and healthcare infrastructure will enhance. There will be regional transformations, and your city in 2047 will have world-class public transportation, clean air and water systems, digital governance services, and cultural and entertainment facilities. Transformation of rural areas will include urban level amenities in villages, high-speed internet connectivity, modern healthcare access, and quality education infrastructure. What's the bottom line? Is the 8% achievable? If we are optimistic, then there is a 40% probability. And if everything goes right, like policy reforms accelerate, private investment revives strongly, global economy supports India's growth, demographics work in India's favor, and technology adoption accelerates, then India becomes a developed nation by 2047, and the per capita income reaches to $12,000 plus. Let's think about a realistic case which has a 50% probability. There will be mixed progress, and the growth averages will be between 7 to 7.5% over the next 22 years. There will be significant progress, but India will get developed nation status by 2050 and 2055. There will be major improvements in living standards, and there will be regional inequality, but it will reduce. As a result, India will become upper middle income country by 2047, and per capita income will be between $8,000 to $10,000. Let's consider a challenging case which has a 10% probability. In such a scenario, if major obstacles persist, then growth will remain between 6 to 6.5%, structural reforms will get stalled, global headwinds will intensify, and demographic dividend will not get captured. The result will be that there will be a middle income trap, where the per capita income will be between $5,000 to $6,000 by 2047. So then the question is, what can you do? As individuals, you can develop skills for emerging industries, start or join innovative businesses, invest in India's growth story, participate in democratic processes, and support sustainable development. The truth is that India's 8% growth target is ambitious but achievable. The World Bank says the target is possible, but it requires unprecedented coordination between the government, business, and citizens. Your role will not be restricted to just being a spectator. You are a participant in India's transformation. The decisions you make in the next 5 years will determine whether you are a beneficiary of India's growth story or just a witness to it. What's your prediction? Will India achieve 8% growth and become a developed nation by 2047? What will you do to be a part of this transformation? Let me know in the comments below. This analysis provides we Indians with a comprehensive understanding of our country's economic ambitions, personal opportunities, and the realistic path to a developed nation by 2047.